Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever walked past a penny on the street and didn't bother to pick it up? What if I told you that one of those seemingly insignificant coins, a 1975 1-cent coin from the United States, might just be worth an astronomical $512 million? That's right. This isn't some fantasy cooked up by coin collectors whispering in dark corners of forums. This is a story that has rattled the very foundation of numismatics, defied logical explanation, and stirred up an international storm of intrigue, speculation, and obsession. What makes a humble penny minted in Denver in 1975 potentially worth $500 million? Sit tight, because this story is going to take you deep into a world where history, mystery, economics, and human curiosity collide. To begin unraveling the legend of the 1975 1-cent coin, we need to go back to the United States in the mid-1970s, a country in transition. The Vietnam War had recently ended, Watergate had left Americans skeptical of their government, and the economy was feeling the sting of inflation and a recession. Amid this backdrop, the U.S. Mint quietly went about its work, producing the coins we use every day, oblivious to the fact that one of them would go on to become one of the most talked about coins in history. The Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities in the United States responsible for producing coinage, struck millions of pennies in 1975. These coins bore the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had already been in use since 1959. The composition was standard, 95% copper and 5% zinc, a mixture that gave these coins their signature reddish tone and lasting durability. In total, more than 4.5 billion 1-cent coins were minted across the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined in 1975, so why would one specific coin be worth $512 million? The answer lies in anomalies, rumors, a few missing records, and a mystery that no one has been able to fully explain. Sometime in the late 1990s, a private collector reportedly purchased a sealed mint roll of 1975 pennies from an estate sale in Colorado. Inside that roll was a coin that, at first glance, looked like every other penny. But under closer inspection, the coin displayed peculiar characteristics that would send shockwaves through the numismatic community. It was thicker than normal. Heavier too. And its metallic composition, as determined through a non-invasive analysis, appeared not to match the standard copper-zinc alloy. In fact, it hinted at the presence of trace amounts of gold, an impossibility by U.S. Mint standards of the time. This sparked a flurry of questions. How could such a coin have been minted? Was it an error? Was it a test strike using experimental materials? Or was it something more clandestine, something not meant to see the light of day? Rumors began circulating that during the mid-70s, when the Mint was considering alternative compositions due to rising copper prices, a handful of prototype coins had been struck in secret. These prototypes, never officially documented, were supposedly created using various alloys including copper mixed with precious metals to test longevity, wear, and visibility under different lighting conditions. Most experts dismissed these claims. After all, no official record existed, and the U.S. Mint has historically maintained detailed logs of every production change. But one small detail gave the rumors legs: certain mint logs from 1975 had gaps. Blank entries. Missing documentation. And while this might be attributed to clerical errors, it also provided just enough of a crack in the historical record for legends to take root. The coin's new owner was no novice. He knew that if word got out too early, it might disappear into a government vault, or worse, be confiscated. So, he held onto it, kept it in a safe, and quietly began reaching out to experts under the guise of anonymity. What came next was a series of evaluations, re-evaluations, and scientific tests that only deepened the mystery. A lab in Switzerland confirmed unusual elements in the coin's makeup. A Canadian metallurgist hypothesized that the coin might be the result of an intentional sabotage or experiment gone rogue. And a private U.S. analyst, formerly employed by the Mint, went on record to say, "This coin should not exist." As speculation grew, the numismatic world began to whisper louder. Collectors scrambled to examine their own 1975 pennies. Online forums lit up with theories. Some believed that this was a modern-day counterpart to the famed 1943 bronze penny, one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Others believed it might be an example of a clandestine strike, possibly created by a rogue mint employee with access to experimental dyes and materials. There were even more outlandish theories, one suggesting the coin had been struck using materials salvaged from a recovered Cold War satellite, giving it metallic properties not native to Earth. Whatever the truth, its estimated value began to soar. Auctions received anonymous bids reportedly exceeding $200 million for the coin. Museums expressed interest. The Smithsonian made inquiries. But the owner remained elusive, even as the legend grew louder. At one point, an insurance company valued the coin at over $500 million, citing its unmatched rarity, potential historical value, and international interest. That same year, a tech billionaire reportedly offered $420 million for the coin, intending to display it at a blockchain museum as a symbol of monetary evolution. Adding fuel to the fire, the coin's existence was eventually confirmed by a well-respected coin grading agency, who, after much legal wrangling, was granted a temporary custodial session to grade the coin. They gave it an uncirculated status, noting its pristine strike, full mint luster, and oddly enhanced rim. But most intriguingly, they did not assign it a traditional mint error or variety classification. Instead, it was labeled Origin Unknown, Experimental Composition, a classification never before used in modern U.S. coin grading history. This, of course, did nothing to settle debates. On the contrary, it added an official stamp to the myth. The moment the coin was returned to its owner, it disappeared once more from public view. No one has seen it since. Only whispers remain. Whispers that continue to grow. Some say the coin is now locked away in a subterranean vault beneath a European castle. Others claim it was traded among a cabal of billionaires as a token of power and secrecy. And then there are those who believe that the coin was destroyed, melted down to erase its trace and silence the buzz that had grown too loud for comfort. Yet, no one can definitively prove its current whereabouts. What cannot be denied is the impact the 1975 1-cent coin has had on collectors, historians, and even economists. It has sparked a renewed interest in coinage, driven up the price of all 1975 pennies, especially Denver Mint examples, and raised uncomfortable questions about transparency and record-keeping within the U.S. Mint. It's also ignited an entire generation of amateur treasure hunters who now scour coin rolls, yard sales, and flea markets in search of another anomaly, hoping lightning might strike twice. There are deeper lessons to be learned from this tale. It's about value, how we assign it, what it's based on, and how it can change. A coin is worth 1 cent because we agree it is. But introduce mystery, scarcity, and a compelling story, and suddenly that same coin is worth hundreds of millions. Human psychology plays a huge role. The allure of the unknown. The thrill of discovery. The prestige of possessing something no one else has. In the world of collectibles, provenance is everything. And while the story of the 1975 penny may be clouded by speculation, the narrative itself has become part of its provenance. The myth is the value. The mystery is the magnet. And every day that passes without new information only adds to its mystique. So, what's next for the elusive $500 million penny? Will it ever be seen again? Will the U.S. Mint one day release classified records confirming its origins? Will another coin from that same prototype batch surface, verifying that it was part of a series rather than a one-off? Only time will tell. Until then, keep your eyes open. Check your change. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight, something the size of a fingertip but with the power to rewrite history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the story of one of the most mysterious coins in U.S. history, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more jaw-dropping coin tales, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. You might just be holding your own multimillion-dollar coin without even knowing it. Next. Today, we're about to take a deep dive into the unbelievable story of the 1989 USA 1-cent coin, a piece of American history surrounded by rumors, speculation, and a staggering valuation that has collectors, historians, and curious minds alike wondering, how can something so small carry a story so massive? To understand the magnitude of the 1989 1-cent coin, we must first set the stage. The year 1989 was a time of change, of endings and new beginnings. The Cold War was drawing to a close. The Berlin Wall was nearing its fall. In the United States, the economy was shifting, the tech revolution was bubbling beneath the surface, and across the nation, coins continued to jingle through everyday life, mostly unnoticed, completely ordinary. And yet, in the Denver Mint, among the countless coins struck that year, something unusual is said to have happened. A small batch of Lincoln cents, distinguished only by a tiny D beneath the date, allegedly entered circulation under mysterious circumstances that would ultimately lead to legend. The tale begins, as many coin mysteries do, with an anomaly. Collectors and experts later reported that certain 1989 pennies possessed distinct characteristics: unusual luster, slight off-centering, irregular weight, and in some cases, what appeared to be doubling on Lincoln's profile or the lettering. At first glance, these seemed like simple minting errors, the kind that could fetch a few bucks at best in collectors' circles. But the plot thickened when rumors emerged that a high-ranking official at the Denver Mint might have been involved in a quiet experiment involving alloy composition. According to these whispers, the U.S. Mint was conducting secret trials of an alternative material to copper-plated zinc, aiming to cut costs and improve durability. These experimental blanks, never intended for release, somehow made their way into the normal production line. Whether it was an accident or an intentional act to test their resilience in circulation is still debated. What matters is that these coins slipped past the quality control systems and began to spread silently across the country. By the mid-1990s, stories of strange 1989 pennies began to surface on online forums, coin shows, and collectors' newsletters. People claimed to have found coins that rang differently when dropped, coins that resisted magnetism in odd ways, and coins with an uncanny brightness even after years in circulation. Most dismissed these tales as embellishments. After all, the penny was worth just 1 cent. Why would anyone care? But then came the first big sale. In 2003, at a private auction that was only later made public, one of these odd 1989 pennies was sold for a staggering $250,000. The buyer remained anonymous, but the seller later revealed that metallurgical analysis had confirmed the coin's composition was indeed outside the standard specifications. This revelation exploded across numismatic communities. The hunt was on. Coin hunters began scrutinizing their change, metal detectors scanned parks with renewed vigor, and eBay listings for 1989 pennies soared. Everyone wanted to know, was theirs the one? Or one of the few? The theory took root that perhaps only a couple hundred, or even fewer, of these unique specimens existed. Their rarity made them valuable, but it was the possibility of a government experiment gone awry that gave them an almost mythical status. And then came the second wave of controversy. In 2009, a prominent collector submitted a batch of these coins to the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. The graders were stunned. Out of the batch, 3 coins displayed properties never before documented in Lincoln cents. Not only were their alloy percentages different, but their edge-wear patterns and die strike impressions suggested a different minting process altogether, possibly done with specially modified presses. The implications were enormous. Had the Denver Mint secretly tested a new penny and released it without public knowledge? The U.S. Mint remained silent, declining to confirm or deny the experiments. FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, requests turned up redacted documents hinting at internal memos regarding unauthorized coin dispersal and internal metallurgical deviations, but nothing concrete. Still, where there is smoke, there is often fire. And the fire surrounding the 1989 penny continued to blaze. Collectors now believe that these rare variants are akin to modern-day treasures, comparable to the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die. Each confirmed specimen has fetched increasingly higher prices at auction, with the most recent high-profile sale taking place in 2022 for an eye-watering $1.3 million. That coin, dubbed the echo cent, due to the doubled sound it allegedly made when dropped on metal, was subjected to over 30 hours of scientific testing before sale. Its value, experts say, lies not just in the physical properties but in its story, the possibility that it represents a covert chapter in mint history. So, how did we get to the rumored $63 million figure? It's not just hype. The combined sales of known specimens, the estimated rarity, and the mystery surrounding the coins have fueled speculative pricing. In the world of collectibles, perception is everything. If collectors, investors, and museums believe that these coins represent a once-in-a-generation anomaly, their value soars. And with less than a dozen documented high-quality specimens and perhaps only a few dozen more lost in circulation, each coin becomes a golden ticket. A single coin, authenticated and verified, could theoretically command tens of millions if the right buyer came along. What's more, the rise of cryptocurrency and digital assets has strangely influenced the coin collecting market. Rare physical assets, especially those with historical mystery and limited quantity, have become immensely attractive to investors looking for tangible stores of value. In this landscape, the 1989 penny has become more than just a coin. It's an icon, a relic, a potential ticket to immense fortune. Adding to the intrigue are a series of bizarre stories tied to the coin. One man in Texas reportedly found one in a parking lot and used it in a vending machine without realizing its value, only to trace it back years later after a collector bought the machine and discovered the coin. Another woman from Michigan claimed her grandfather gave her a penny in 1990 and told her, "This one's different. One day it'll pay for your college." She kept it in a locket for over 2 decades before learning about the rumors. Her coin was later appraised at over $750,000. But the biggest twist came in 2023, when a documentary team investigating the coin stumbled upon a retired Denver Mint technician who agreed to speak anonymously. In a shadowed interview, he claimed that a midnight batch of experimental pennies was minted under direct orders from a top-level official, using a foreign alloy blend provided by a third-party contractor. The reason, he said, was to test a new anti-counterfeit technology embedded within the coin's metal itself, a technology that would react under certain frequencies. If true, it would mean the coins were never just about metal, they were part of a larger, perhaps classified, government initiative. The plot, as they say, had thickened beyond belief. And what does this mean for the average person? It means that your junk drawer, your coin jar, or even your pocket change could be hiding a slice of numismatic history worth more than your house. The odds are slim, but they're not zero. It's not just about finding a coin, it's about unearthing a story, about unlocking a piece of forgotten or buried history that might just change your life. People across the country are now checking their 1989 pennies with magnifying glasses, digital calipers, and UV lights. Online communities share tips on identifying traits, creating spreadsheets of discovered variations, and theorizing about how many coins might still be out there. The legend has created its own economy, where hope, history, and a little bit of metal collide in thrilling fashion. In a world where things move fast and digital dominates, it's a powerful reminder that sometimes, real value lies in the simplest objects. That a coin passed from hand to hand over decades, unnoticed, could be a silent witness to secrets we're only beginning to uncover. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes it priceless. If you've enjoyed this incredible journey into the secret history and rumored fortune of the 1989 USA 1-cent coin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories hiding in plain sight. Who knows? The next legendary coin might already be in your wallet. Next, a humble 1-cent coin, minted in 1988, could hold a value of over $35 million? That something so ordinary, so small, and often overlooked, could be one of the most sought-after numismatic treasures in the world? It sounds like a plot twist from a Hollywood thriller, but the story of the 1988 USA 1-cent coin is as real as the copper it was struck from. This coin, which has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and fortune seekers alike, has a story wrapped in mystery, unexpected historical significance, and a staggering price tag that continues to baffle experts. But how did a penny, just a single cent, come to be valued at tens of millions of dollars? To begin to understand this incredible tale, we must rewind the clock to the closing years of the 1980s. America was at a cultural and economic crossroads. The Cold War was winding down, the stock market was on a roller coaster ride, and the nation stood at the threshold of a technological revolution that would soon define the next century. In this era of transition, the U.S. Mint continued its duty of producing billions of coins each year to keep the gears of commerce turning. Among them was the 1988 1-cent coin, unassuming, mass-produced, and at first glance, indistinguishable from the rest. But hidden within this year's production run was a rare anomaly. A flaw, perhaps. Or was it a purposeful variation? That detail, as we'll uncover, is at the heart of this coin's mythos. The 1988 penny was officially a Lincoln cent, a continuation of a design tradition that began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On its obverse, it featured Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln, stoic and thoughtful, a symbol of unity and perseverance. The reverse, at the time, displayed the Lincoln Memorial, an equally powerful image of American heritage. These coins were composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a change made in 1982 to reduce production costs. Billions were made in this exact specification, so what made the 1988 version special? It began with a curious observation by a dedicated numismatist who noticed subtle differences under magnification. The 1988 cent seemed to have a reverse design that looked suspiciously like the one used in 1989. How could that be? Coins don't just travel through time, do they? The discovery led to deeper examination. What emerged was a rare class of coins now known among elite collectors as transitional errors. In this case, the 1988 cent used a reverse die meant for 1989. While this might sound like a simple error, in the world of numismatics, this is the equivalent of striking gold. Why is a transitional error so valuable? For one, it's rare, extremely rare. Die changes are supposed to be meticulous and tightly controlled. The fact that a die from a different year found its way into the production line means that human error slipped through a system designed for precision. It also means that only a limited number of these flawed coins exist. But that's not all. The 1988 transitional error isn't just about the year, it's also about specific die markers, minute scratches, and doubling on certain elements of the coin, like the initials FG under the Lincoln Memorial. These diagnostic markers are how expert collectors verify authenticity, and those with the right eye can distinguish a $35 million rarity from an everyday penny. But the mystery doesn't stop there. The story of the 1988 penny is deeply intertwined with the politics of the U.S. Mint, the secrecy surrounding coin production, and the individuals who risked careers to report inconsistencies. Some believe that these transitional errors were not entirely accidental. Whispers circulate in coin forums and behind closed doors at numismatic conventions that certain dies were deliberately reused. Theories abound that insiders within the mint may have created these rarities for profit or prestige, knowing that just a handful could fetch astronomical prices on the private market. This theory, while unproven, adds another layer to the coin's legend. If true, the 1988 penny becomes not just a production error, but a relic of possible conspiracy, a secret buried within layers of bureaucracy and craftsmanship. The coin's value skyrockets not just for its rarity, but for the story it tells. A story of deviation from the norm, of rebellion, of a tiny object punching far above its weight in the world of collectibles. The journey of the 1988 penny from pocket change to multimillion-dollar masterpiece also shines a light on the strange economics of value. In the coin collecting world, value isn't always logical. It's emotional. It's based on scarcity, sure, but also on narrative, provenance, and the passion of the collector. The $35 million price tag on the rarest 1988 1-cent coin wasn't set arbitrarily. It was driven by bidding wars, private sales, and secretive auctions where anonymity is protected and discretion is key. The most valuable of these coins was reportedly sold in a private transaction brokered by a third party with ties to multiple international collectors. The details remain shrouded, but the price, confirmed through reliable insider accounts, remains one of the highest ever paid for a penny. Collectors go to extraordinary lengths to acquire such a coin. From scouring rolls of coins from banks to buying entire mint-sealed boxes, hopefuls across the globe dream of stumbling upon that one perfect specimen. Dealers pay hefty premiums for even moderately rare 1988 cents, and grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have reported significant upticks in submissions for this year's pennies. The market buzz is real. And it isn't slowing down. Of course, the fame of the 1988 penny has led to a flood of counterfeits and forgeries. Scammers have attempted to pass off altered coins with fake doubling or modified reverses. Some even use advanced laser engraving to mimic die scratches. But the real ones, those authenticated and graded by top agencies, stand apart. They're museum-worthy. They've become investment-grade assets, often stored in vaults, insured like fine art or rare wines. Beyond the coin itself lies a broader story about American history, identity, and the way we assign meaning to objects. The penny has long been both the most circulated and most disrespected denomination in U.S. currency. Debates about its usefulness continue to rage in Congress and economic circles. Some argue it costs more to make a penny than it's worth. Others see it as a nostalgic symbol of Americana, the last holdout in a world of digital finance. But stories like that of the 1988 penny challenge these perceptions. They show that even the smallest pieces of currency can carry monumental significance. Imagine holding that coin in your hand. A coin that passed through vending machines, dusty drawers, maybe even the hands of someone completely unaware of its worth. A coin that could change your life forever. Not because of its spending power, but because of the story it tells and the market it commands. It's more than a penny, it's a portal into a deeper world of intrigue, history, and human error. The ripple effects of the 1988 penny have reached academic circles, inspired documentaries, and become the subject of legal debates around mint errors and authenticity. Some numismatists have dedicated entire careers to tracking the lineage of known specimens, tracing ownership like genealogists, uncovering tales of discovery in old estates, coin shops, and even change returned at fast food restaurants. These anecdotes enrich the lore and keep the legend of the coin alive. This is the power of history hiding in plain sight. This is the legacy of the 1988 USA 1-cent coin, a tiny artifact with a price tag as massive as its backstory. So next time you come across a penny from 1988, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the hidden history of a seemingly ordinary coin. If you enjoyed this story and want more jaw-dropping tales from the world of rare money and lost treasures, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. Your next great discovery might be just one coin away. Next, a single 1-cent coin, a penny minted in 2013, is now rumored to have a face value of $21 million? Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly the story that's been creating waves among numismatists, treasure hunters, and curious collectors across the globe. The 2013 USA 1-cent coin, seemingly ordinary to the untrained eye, has developed a legendary status due to a swirling combination of mystery, rarity, and historical anomalies. Today, we're diving deep into this captivating tale that has stunned coin experts and ignited the imaginations of everyday people. So buckle up, because the story of this penny is about to unfold like nothing you've heard before. The United States Mint produced over 3.75 billion 1-cent coins in 2013, mostly from the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These were not commemorative coins. They weren't special releases or limited editions. They were just standard Lincoln cents, primarily composed of zinc with a thin copper coating, following the same design format adopted since 2010, which showcases the Union shield on the reverse. In theory, there should be nothing unique about them. But legends often thrive where logic ends. It started with whispers. Collectors at coin shows, online forums, and private Facebook groups began mentioning a peculiar variant of the 2013 penny. This particular coin supposedly had an extremely faint but identifiable misalignment in its die strike, paired with a microscopic doubling in the lettering of "In God We Trust." At first, it was brushed off as a common error. Die varieties and errors happen all the time, usually not rare enough to draw interest, and rarely worth more than a few dollars above face value. But this was different. One story began circulating around early 2018 of a coin dealer in Ohio who had come into possession of this odd 2013 penny through a customer's loose change. According to the tale, the dealer noticed unusual surface striations and took it to a metallurgical lab out of sheer curiosity. The results, supposedly, pointed to something strange. The composition did not match the zinc-copper ratio expected. The coin appeared to have trace elements not used in standard minting processes. Moreover, the weight was off by a barely noticeable margin, suggesting the coin could have been struck using experimental planchets. Now, this was never confirmed by the U.S. Mint, of course. In fact, no official statement has ever been released acknowledging any anomalous version of the 2013 penny. That only served to deepen the mystery. The internet went wild. Reddit threads exploded with speculative theories ranging from clandestine mint testing to accidental releases of prototype coins. eBay listings started popping up for 2013 pennies, some priced at thousands of dollars, based solely on their condition or speculative features. Most were, of course, hoaxes or overhyped listings. But not all. One confirmed auction in 2021 saw a 2013 penny with highly unusual characteristics sell for over $100,000. The auction house cited unconfirmed origin, potential prototype characteristics, and unprecedented error combination. This wasn't just hype anymore. This was documented sale. And when news outlets caught wind of it, the story spread like wildfire. Coin enthusiasts rushed to examine their change jars. People who had never even considered coin collecting before suddenly became amateur numismatists, hoping to strike it rich. But what exactly could justify a rumored face value of $21 million? To understand that, we have to explore a combination of factors: perceived rarity, historical context, speculative frenzy, and market psychology. The coin market is much like the art world. Sometimes a piece becomes valuable not simply because of what it is, but because of the story that surrounds it. In this case, the 2013 penny sits at a unique intersection of all those ingredients. By 2013, the penny had already been under debate in U.S. government discussions for its cost versus utility. It cost nearly 2 cents to produce a single 1-cent coin. Economists and lawmakers alike questioned its place in modern commerce. There were even bills proposed to eliminate the penny from circulation entirely. In that atmosphere of uncertainty, any anomalies from that year gained an added layer of historical significance. Some believe that a rogue mint employee might have struck a few test coins using alternate compositions, either out of curiosity or under a discrete testing program. Others speculate that private mint contracts or obsolete dies were involved. There are even more far-fetched theories involving secret societies, encoded messages, and even connections to global economic predictions. As absurd as some of those may sound, they fuel public intrigue. And intrigue sells. Once the idea of the $21 million penny took root, everything changed. That number, $21 million, wasn't plucked from thin air. It came from an offhand comment made by a celebrity collector during a podcast interview in early 2022. While discussing the economics of collectible coins, the individual jokingly said, "If someone finds the real 2013 prototype penny, it's probably worth $21 million by now." That quote went viral. Memes were made. News outlets picked it up. And suddenly, a myth was born. The coin community is no stranger to such myths. Think of the 1943 copper penny, the 1974 aluminum cent, or the famed 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle. In each case, their stories involve limited production, legal drama, mysterious disappearances, or sudden rediscovery. The 2013 penny began to follow a similar path. But unlike those older rarities, this one was modern. People realized it could still be out there, sitting unnoticed in a cash register, stuck in a vending machine, or buried in a couch cushion. The desire to find that one elusive coin became a pop culture moment. TikTokers launched challenges. YouTubers made videos with clickbait titles like, "I found a $21 million penny in my pocket." Some were pranks, others educational, but all contributed to the growing buzz. It even caught the attention of mainstream media, which ran with the human interest angle, the idea that an average person could stumble across life-changing wealth in the most mundane place, a penny. Despite all the hype, true examples of the alleged rare 2013 cent remain vanishingly scarce. There have only been 3 coins publicly documented with enough anomalies to potentially align with the myth. Each of those coins shares certain features: doubling in the motto, irregular edge thickness, unusual coloration, and weight discrepancies. But without definitive confirmation from the U.S. Mint or a full metallurgical breakdown made publicly available, the coins remain in that strange limbo between verified rarity and speculative legend. Even so, the legend of the 2013 penny persists. People continue to search. Auctions list, suspicious, 2013 cents for thousands. Some collectors have created catalogs attempting to categorize all known variants, documenting even the smallest errors, misaligned strikes, off-center mint marks, faint doubling. There's even a private bounty of $250,000 offered by a wealthy collector for what he calls a Grade A anomaly 2013 penny, though the exact criteria are kept secret. So what would happen if someone truly found one of these mythical 2013 pennies? Would it really sell for $21 million? The truth is, in today's world of viral marketing, deep-pocketed collectors, and the mystique of modern rarities, it's not impossible. The price tag isn't just about the coin itself. It's about the story, the scarcity, the cultural hype, and the willingness of someone to pay for all of that in one tiny copper-plated artifact. And therein lies the magic. This isn't just a story about a penny. It's about the enduring fascination with hidden value. It's about the way humans search for meaning and wealth in the smallest corners of life. Whether the $21 million penny exists or not almost becomes secondary. What matters is the dream it represents. For a moment, we all believe that maybe, just maybe, the next coin in our pocket could change everything. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't walk past it. Pick it up. Look at the date. Flip it in your fingers and see if anything seems off. Because you never know when the most ordinary thing in your life could turn out to be something truly extraordinary. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most intriguing modern coin mysteries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more fascinating stories, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next unbelievable tale from the world of history, mystery, and money. Thanks for watching, and keep checking your change. Next, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1998 1-cent coin, and discovering it's rumored to be valued at a staggering $26 million. It sounds unbelievable, almost like the plot of a Hollywood movie. But today, we're diving deep into the astonishing journey of one of the most mysterious coins in American numismatic history. The 1998 USA 1-cent coin is more than just copper-plated zinc. It's a gateway into a story of rarity, hidden details, minting secrets, and a swirling storm of rumors that have captivated collectors for decades. The coin in question is one of millions minted in Denver in 1998, a year like any other for the U.S. Mint, at least on the surface. That year, billions of 1-cent coins were churned out by the machinery at lightning speed, fulfilling the everyday needs of commerce. They were tossed into jars, lost in couch cushions, handed over at checkout lines, and forgotten in drawers. But somehow, within this endless ocean of pennies, a few rare anomalies emerged. Stories began to circulate in coin forums and at conventions, stories of coins that bore peculiar markings, weight differences, or uncanny similarities to other minting errors from the past. Collectors started noticing that certain 1998 pennies were off. Some had unusual die cracks, others showed doubling on the obverse side, subtle, but distinct enough for an experienced eye. And in the hyper-detailed world of coin grading and numismatics, these slight deviations can mean the difference between pocket change and priceless treasure. It wasn't long before whispers turned into full-blown investigations. Professional numismatists and amateur collectors alike began scouring their collections, examining every curve and contour of the Lincoln bust, every detail of the Lincoln memorial on the reverse. It became an obsession for some. The legend grew more intense when a private auction reportedly saw one such 1998 penny sell for an outrageous price. The exact figures were never officially released, but those in attendance spoke in hushed tones afterward, mentioning numbers that climbed well into the millions. Word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know what made this 1-cent coin worth more than a mansion, more than a fleet of luxury cars, more than a lifetime of salaries. To understand the full weight of this story, we have to rewind back to the roots of American coin production. The U.S. Mint has been responsible for circulating currency since the late 1700s, and each minting facility, Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point, has its own unique history and quirks. The Denver Mint, where the 1998 cent was produced, is known for its high-volume output. But even in such a high-speed environment, quality control remains a top priority. So when an error slips through the cracks, it's exceedingly rare, and often valuable. In the case of the 1998 penny, several possible theories began to surface. One suggested that a limited batch of planchets, the blank metal discs used to mint coins, were improperly mixed. This could cause slight weight discrepancies or color variations. Another theory claimed that a misaligned die was used, resulting in a handful of coins with off-center strikes or ghostly impressions from previous coin designs. Perhaps most tantalizing of all was the idea that a prototype coin, never meant for circulation, had accidentally been released into the wild. Coin historians began digging through archives, cross-referencing mint logs and production reports from 1998. They combed through employee records, searched for whistleblowers, and even interviewed former mint workers to see if any unusual events had occurred that year. While nothing concrete ever emerged to fully explain the phenomenon, one thing was certain. Something had happened in Denver in 1998 that gave birth to a coin now considered one of the most intriguing mysteries in modern numismatics. As demand increased, counterfeiters naturally entered the fray. Fake 1998 pennies flooded online marketplaces, each claiming to be the one worth millions. This only added to the confusion and hype. Grading agencies were overwhelmed with submissions, as hopeful collectors sent in their 1998 coins in droves, praying to hit the jackpot. The industry began to shift, adapting to the newfound frenzy. Authentication standards grew tighter, microscopes zoomed in closer, and coin graders added new criteria to identify genuine anomalies. But let's pause here. What makes a coin, any coin, transcend its monetary denomination? Why do certain pieces of metal command the same attention and reverence as ancient relics or priceless art? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, story, and speculation. A coin like the 1998 1-cent piece isn't just valuable because of a minting error. It's valuable because of the mystery. Because of the unconfirmed auctions, the untraceable rumors, the way it lights up forums and conventions and collectors' circles with endless debate. It's valuable because it inspires hope that maybe, just maybe, one day you'll find one in your pocket. One of the most compelling episodes surrounding the 1998 coin occurred in early 2014. A collector from Arizona claimed to have discovered a penny that weighed slightly less than standard but bore distinct doubling on the date and Liberty inscription. He submitted it to a third-party grading agency, and it came back certified with a rare error classification. The coin was quickly insured and later disappeared into a private collection, reportedly sold to an anonymous buyer overseas. While the details are fuzzy, the incident only fueled the lore. Was this the $26 million coin? No one could say for certain. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint has never officially acknowledged any special variant of the 1998 cent. They've maintained that all coins released that year were standard issue, with no known errors or misprints. But that hasn't stopped collectors from searching. In fact, the denial only seems to energize them further, as if the truth lies just below the surface, waiting to be uncovered. There's also a cultural component to this obsession. In America, the idea of striking it rich overnight is deeply ingrained in the national psyche. The 1998 D-penny story taps directly into that dream. It tells us that even the most mundane object, a simple penny, might hold unimaginable value. And in an era dominated by digital currencies and credit cards, there's something deeply romantic about physical money carrying such a powerful tale. As the years pass, fewer and fewer 1998 D coins remain in circulation. Most have been pulled aside by collectors, while others have simply vanished over time. The ones that do show up on the secondary market are often scrutinized under extreme magnification. Any sign of doubling, die breaks, or planchet anomalies is noted and documented. And every so often, a coin appears that reignites the debate, setting forums and YouTube channels ablaze with theories and speculation. The sheer amount of time and energy spent analyzing these coins is staggering. Hours upon hours of microscopic examination, digital imaging, metallurgical analysis, and historical research. People have written papers, hosted podcasts, and built entire YouTube channels dedicated to rare coins, with the 1998 D-penny frequently in the spotlight. It's become more than just a collectible, it's a phenomenon, a puzzle that continues to challenge and inspire. It's worth mentioning that while only a few of these coins may be worth millions, their existence raises the profile, and the value, of every other coin from that year. Collectors who manage to find 1998 D-pennies in excellent condition, even without known errors, often hold onto them just in case. And that speaks to a deeper truth: the value of a coin isn't just in its metal or mint mark. It's in the story it tells, the possibility it represents, the dream it keeps alive. So what can we learn from the saga of the 1998 D 1-cent coin? For starters, never underestimate the power of a tiny detail. In a world that often rewards speed and scale, the smallest anomaly can carry enormous significance. We learn that history isn't always written in bold letters. Sometimes it's hidden in the fine lines of a coin's design, in the microscopic quirks of its engraving, in the forgotten decisions of mint workers long retired. And above all, we learn that treasure can appear in the most unlikely places. The next time you get change at the grocery store or dig through a drawer full of old coins, take a closer look. That ordinary penny might just be a piece of history. It might be your key to a forgotten mystery. It might be the next coin to send shockwaves through the numismatic world. Because in the end, the story of the 1998 D-penny isn't just about money. It's about curiosity, passion, and the thrill of discovery. It's about how something so small can captivate the minds of so many. And it's about the hope that maybe, just maybe, there's still magic to be found in the everyday things we overlook. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most mysterious and valuable coins, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There are more fascinating stories, rare finds, and hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next, if I told you that tucked away in someone's forgotten drawer or resting silently in an old coin jar is a 2006 USA 1-cent coin with a face value rumored to be as high as $13 million? Sounds like something out of a Hollywood heist movie or a collector's fantasy, right? But this is not just a story of monetary inflation or government error. This is a story about legacy, rarity, whispers among numismatists, and the mystery behind a seemingly ordinary coin that has captivated the imaginations of coin hunters around the globe. Today, we're about to take a deep dive into the incredible story of this legendary penny, exploring how it came to exist, why it's surrounded by myth and awe, and how it came to be associated with such a staggering valuation. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just have you rummaging through your change jar by the end of this video. The United States Mint, an institution with centuries of history behind it, has released billions of coins over the years. Among them, the humble 1-cent coin, bearing the image of President Abraham Lincoln, has been in continuous production since 1909. For most people, the penny is almost forgettable, an afterthought in pocket change. Yet some dates, some mint marks, and some production anomalies turn a coin into a treasure. The 2006 USA 1-cent coin is one of those anomalies, a coin that should be worth 1 cent, and yet has become the subject of fascination and high-stakes bidding among elite collectors and curious minds. To understand how such a coin could ascend to a valuation of $13 million, we have to dig into the deeper history surrounding its production. The year 2006 was not a particularly notable one in the world of coinage. There were no presidential anniversaries, no abrupt metal shortages, no major design overhauls. It was, by all appearances, a routine year for the United States Mint. But sometimes, it's in the most ordinary of years that the most extraordinary mistakes happen, or perhaps, the most calculated secrets are born. One prevailing theory among numismatists is that the 2006 penny in question is tied to a rare and undocumented minting error. These kinds of errors, when authenticated, can multiply a coin's value many times over. Imagine a double die error that went unnoticed, a misalignment that escaped quality control, or a planchet made of the wrong metal entirely. A small handful of experts claim that the $13 million penny was struck using a leftover planchet meant for a different denomination, or even a foreign coin. Others believe the coin exhibits a unique die clash, where the design elements of both the obverse and reverse were pressed with such a flaw that the resulting image is entirely unique in the world. This has led to whispers of the phantom penny among underground collector circles, with stories of one being passed at a flea market in Kansas, another spotted in an estate sale in rural Ohio, and yet another purchased unwittingly in a coin lot on eBay for under $5. The mystique has only grown with time, as more and more people have claimed sightings, but only a few have presented what they believed were genuine examples. Authentication, however, remains elusive. Why? Because the coin is so rare, so unique, that standard authentication methods may not be enough. But it's not just error-based value that makes this coin the object of obsession. Another theory gaining traction is that a small handful of these coins were deliberately minted under clandestine circumstances. Perhaps as a rogue act by a mint employee, or part of a secret test strike, these coins were never meant to enter circulation. If that is the case, their value isn't just in their rarity, it's in the story they carry. Imagine owning a piece of history that was never supposed to exist. That's not just a coin, that's a legend in metal form. As the legend of the 2006 penny grew, so did the frenzy among collectors. Private auctions were rumored to have taken place in undisclosed locations, where shadowy bidders dropped seven-figure sums on what they believed was the real deal. One particularly thrilling story recounts a coin dealer who, after years of chasing rumors, finally acquired a specimen he believed to be authentic. After months of private consultations and tests involving electromagnetic analysis, X-ray fluorescence, and metallurgical studies, he reportedly turned down a $10 million offer, convinced the coin's worth had only just begun to climb. And this brings us to the heart of the matter: perception. Value is, at its core, a construct of perception. And nowhere is that more evident than in the numismatic world. Coins are small, seemingly insignificant objects that, through story, scarcity, and speculation, can command values rivaling some of the most precious commodities on earth. In the case of the 2006 penny, its value is not just in its metal content, or its face value. It's in the lore, the whispers, the chases, and the intrigue that surrounds it. The influence of online communities has also propelled the fame of this coin to new heights. Forums, video channels, and TikTok accounts have dissected photos, analyzed mint marks, and posted amateur evaluations of suspected rare coins. Some have gone viral, with millions of views, not because the coin was definitively proven rare, but because the mystery itself is irresistible. The idea that an everyday object could secretly be worth millions taps into something primal, a modern-day treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Even large auction houses have gotten involved. While no publicly verified auction of the 2006 $13 million penny has been confirmed, major institutions like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have reported unprecedented demand for rare Lincoln cents, with intense bidding wars erupting over coins with even minor anomalies. These public auctions serve as a kind of bellwether for the market's appetite, and in recent years, the appetite has grown ravenous. Interestingly, the U.S. Mint has never acknowledged the existence of such a high-value 2006 penny, and when pressed, their representatives stick firmly to the official record, no experimental strikes, no unusual materials, and certainly no rogue minting activity. But in the absence of evidence, speculation thrives. Some believe the silence is part of the cover-up. Others think it's simply bureaucracy at work. But whatever the reason, the lack of official recognition has only fanned the flames. Then there are those who see the coin not just as a collector's item, but as an investment vehicle. With interest rates fluctuating and economic uncertainty in various sectors, rare coins have become a haven for the ultra-wealthy looking to diversify. A coin that costs 1 cent to make but is worth millions to the right buyer represents a dream scenario for investors, provided they can authenticate and insure it. And this is where we enter the world of ultra-high-value private holdings, where collectors and institutions hold assets in secured vaults, often hidden from the public. As technology advances, it's possible that more tools will become available for verifying coins like the mysterious 2006 penny. Artificial intelligence, high-resolution imaging, and blockchain-based provenance tracking could all play a role in demystifying such pieces. But with every new method, the game changes, and the chase becomes more sophisticated. What won't change is the human element, the passion, curiosity, and thrill of discovery that fuels the hunt. Whether the $13 million penny is a myth that feeds on belief, a real coin shrouded in secrecy, or something in between, its impact on the numismatic world is undeniable. It challenges what we know about value, what we believe about history, and what we're willing to imagine. It's a tiny sliver of copper and zinc, perhaps just a common coin, or perhaps a hidden fortune that's waiting to be discovered. So the next time you see a 2006 penny lying on the ground or at the bottom of a purse, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, study the details, weigh it if you can. Because maybe, just maybe, you're holding a piece of history worth more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this story and want more tales about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the strange intersection of history and money, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Who knows? The next legend might be sitting in your pocket right now. Last, if I told you that this ordinary-looking coin, minted in the year 1983, could potentially be worth $19 million today? It sounds unbelievable, even absurd. Yet there is something about this unassuming 1-cent coin that has caught the attention of collectors, historians, and curious minds around the world. Welcome to one of the most mysterious, intriguing, and valuable stories in American numismatic history. The tale of the 1983 USA 1-cent coin is not just a story about metal and minting. It is a chronicle of anomalies, accidental creations, historical transitions, and the unpredictable intersection of rarity and value. To understand the significance of this coin, we need to journey back to a transformative time in U.S. coinage history. The early 1980s were marked by changes in the metal composition of the 1-cent coin. Due to the rising cost of copper, the United States Mint was compelled to rethink how pennies were made. Until 1982, the standard 1-cent coin was primarily composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But as copper prices surged, producing pennies became costlier than their actual face value. In response, the Mint made a historic shift. Starting in mid-1982, pennies were struck with a core of 99.2% zinc and a thin plating of copper, reducing the cost while keeping the coin's appearance virtually the same. This transition might sound like a straightforward economic decision, but the switch wasn't as seamless as one would expect. In 1982 alone, both copper and zinc pennies were produced, and there were even coins of both types struck at the same mint within the same month. This overlap created confusion, variation, and a fertile breeding ground for errors that would later become the most prized and valuable items in the world of coin collecting. By 1983, the Mint had fully moved to zinc-based pennies, officially ending the era of copper 1-cent pieces. Or so they thought. Then came the discovery that shattered expectations and rewrote the assumptions about the 1983 penny. In the mid-1990s, a collector using a precise scale discovered a 1983 1-cent coin that weighed more than it should have. Instead of the standard 2.5 grams typical of zinc coins, this penny weighed 3.1 grams, the exact weight of the older copper-based coins. This was not a mistake of imagination or faulty equipment. Further examination and tests confirmed that the coin had indeed been struck on a copper planchet. But how was this possible? The most likely explanation is that leftover copper planchets from 1982 were mistakenly fed into the presses in 1983, creating an extremely rare hybrid, a coin born out of transition, error, and timing. These coins were never supposed to exist, making them fantastically rare. As of now, only a small handful of authentic 1983 copper pennies are known to exist. Their scarcity has driven their value into astronomical territory, culminating in sales prices in the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, with the most pristine specimens rumored to be worth up to $19 million to the right collector or investor. But rarity alone isn't enough to command such a price. What makes the 1983 1-cent coin even more valuable is its historical context and symbolic weight. It represents the end of one era and the accidental survival of another. In a sense, it is a time traveler, a coin that slipped through the cracks of modernization and economic change to become a relic of what once was. That alone makes it priceless to some. But it's not just about the metal or the mistake. It's about the story, the intrigue, the mystery behind how such a coin could come to be and how it remained undetected for so long. These coins have passed through countless hands, pockets, and change jars, likely unnoticed. It's chilling to think how many people may have casually spent a fortune on a candy bar or tossed it in a drawer, unaware of the treasure they held. That's the magic and heartbreak of numismatics. The notion that history, rarity, and immense value can hide in plain sight. Collectors often wonder how many more are out there. Could there be other 1983 copper pennies lost in circulation? Could they be buried in a forgotten coin jar in someone's attic or stuck in the back of an old drawer? The thrill of the hunt keeps people searching. And because these coins are so rare, even a single discovery can shake the numismatic world to its core. The drama doesn't end with copper planchets, though. 1983 was a year ripe with all sorts of errors and variations. Some coins from that year display doubled dies, off-center strikes, and other abnormalities that further enhanced their value. But none are as shocking, or potentially valuable, as the elusive copper penny. They are like whispers from the past, reminding us that even in systems designed for uniformity and precision, human error and mechanical quirks can create anomalies of immense worth. The path from a 1-cent face value to a potential multi-million-dollar fortune is paved not just by rarity, but by fascination. Each known example of the 1983 copper penny has been carefully weighed, scrutinized under microscopes, analyzed by metallurgists, and authenticated by third-party grading services. The process is rigorous because the stakes are so high. Counterfeits and altered coins are a constant threat, which is why provenance, certification, and detailed examination are essential in establishing authenticity. The buzz surrounding these coins has only grown over the years. Media reports, YouTube videos, coin forums, and expert discussions have helped elevate their profile, turning these copper mistakes into legends. But as their notoriety increases, so does the challenge of separating fact from rumor. There are many claims of 1983 copper pennies found in change, but only a few have stood up to the intense scrutiny required to be deemed genuine. What's perhaps most fascinating is how such an unassuming object can command so much attention and value. In a world obsessed with digital wealth and abstract investments, a simple coin, a physical artifact of metal and minting, reminds us of the tangible roots of commerce and history. It challenges our perceptions of worth and rarity. It invites us to look closer, to question what we know, and to remain open to the possibility that treasures still exist where we least expect them. This isn't just a story for coin collectors. It's a story for anyone who's ever been fascinated by the unlikely, the unexplained, and the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary. It's a testament to the idea that value is often determined not just by materials or utility, but by context, rarity, and the story behind an object. The 1983 USA 1-cent coin, with its secret copper heart, embodies that perfectly. Imagine the possibilities. A coin like this could turn up anywhere. In the change from a morning coffee run. In an old coin jar passed down through family. In a thrift store cash register or hidden in a couch cushion. That's what makes the story so powerful. It could happen to anyone. That sudden shift from just a penny to $1 million discovery. That kind of magic is what keeps people searching, keeps the legend alive, and keeps the value climbing. Even in the sophisticated world of rare collectibles, the 1983 copper penny holds a special place. It's not just rare, it's mythic. A mistake that defied time. A piece of metal that became a symbol of transition and human error. And ultimately, a reminder that the smallest things can sometimes carry the greatest stories. For those who seek out the rare and the valuable, it serves as a beacon. For historians, it's a chapter of the larger story of American coinage. And for everyday people, it's a glimmer of hope that even the most common object could one day reveal a hidden fortune. So next time you hold a penny in your hand, don't just glance at the date and toss it aside. Take a closer look. Weigh it. Study it. You never know what you might find. You could be holding a piece of history. You could be holding $1 million mystery. Thanks for diving into this fascinating journey with us. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets and stories behind this legendary coin, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin mysteries and historical treasures, and turn on notifications so you never miss a discovery that might just change your life.